Good evening, everybody. This is most certainly take one of stream. I didn't have technical difficulties for the 20 minutes and forget to unmute. No, not at all. I'm trying to be low key. I'm trying to not scream. I'm trying to not be loud. Whoops. Oh well. Everybody will live. Nope, never happened. Exactly. See? Rabbit's on my side for once. I'm also trying to I'm trying to have everything low so that you can just vibe. So, we're going to do the very last day of September, the very last day of the Donothon with Grimm Tale reading. Not only is it a chat reward for the donation tier, but it is also a very nice segue, I think, into October, which of course is tomorrow, my time. So again, what better way to end September than starting with Grimm Tales? Do you remember? Yeah. Now, these are in fact the original, to the best of this translator's ability, of the Grimm Tales. So some of them might be problematic, but it's as public reading as public reading can get. In the background, you will hear some lo-fi, a Halloween theme. It may or may not be DMCA free. We will see. But I tried my best to vet that. Now it is cut off because this is the width of like all of the stories that I've got going on here. But I will in fact read what this page says. Now this website is cs S as in Sam .cm as in Mary u .edu / little squiggly sign S as in Sam POK / Grimm TMP and then another slash. I'll post it in the description for the VOD. That way, you know, if you wanna read from here yourself, you can. But for everybody in chat, here you, hello, paste. There it goes. Here you go. I'll pin it. Don't unpin until I manually unpin it. So yeah, for everybody in chat, this is where we are reading from. And as it says here, this book contains 209 tales collected by the Brothers Grimm. The exact print source is unknown. The e-text appears to be based on the translation by Margaret Hunt called Grimm's Household Tales, but it is not identical to her edition. Some of the translations are slightly different, the arrangement also differs, and the Grimm's scholarly notes are not included. The e-text received by the Universal Library did not include story titles. They have been restored in this edition based on Hunt's titles. Note that these tales are presented more or less as the Grimm's collection and edited. Readers of these versions may find more violence and crudity than in the retellings that are more familiar to most modern readers. I figure this should be fine. Y'all will be okay. Now, I haven't read through them. I kind of skimmed a little bit and picked and chose ones that are a little more familiar with like nowadays tales. So if I'm reading through and these seem to be more On the unsavory side, I'm just gonna find a whole new, like, website. Hopefully, hopefully we don't encounter something like that. But, to start off, this one is, let's see. I think this one is The Girl Without Hands. I have a few. The only one that's not here is the Frog King. But the ones that are like in the darker color, those are the ones that we've got. We've got the story of a youth who went forth to learn what fear was. Also, and not in this order. We've got Rapunzel, Hansel, and Gretel, but it's called Gretel in this version. Cinderella, The Girl Without Hands, Fraudsrude, Rumpelstiltskin, The Shoes That Were Danced to Pieces, and that's really it that I've got so far, just in case, because you never know. And I'm pretty sure that this is The Girl Without Hands. There once was a little girl who was obstinate and inquisitive, and when her parents told her to do anything, she did not obey them. So how could she fare well? One day, she said to her parents, "I have heard so much of Fraudsrude. I will go to her some day. People say that everything about her does look so strange, and that there are such odd things in her house that I have become quite curious." Her parents absolutely forbade her and said, "Fraudsrude is a bad woman who does wicked things, and if you go to her, you are no longer our child." But the maiden did not let herself be turned aside by her parents' prohibition, and still went to Fraudsrude. And when she got to her, Fraudsrude said, "Why are you so pale?" "Ah," she replied, and her whole body trembled. "I have been so terrified at what I have seen." "What have you seen?" What's Collier? What's a Collier? No, that's some random person. What the hell? No, these are people. What the hell's a Collier? Does this mean silhouette? Because with the disclaimer of it being coal miner, oh, with the description, I'm kind of like trying to stare at these and make sure that it's not like bad, you know. Maybe he's just covered in soot then, if he's a collier, which is a coal miner. God, I hope so. Please don't cancel me. I'm just trying to read story. I saw a black man on your steps that was a collier. Then I saw a green man that was a huntsman. After that I saw a blood-red man. That was a butcher. Ah, Fraudsrude, I was terrified. I looked through the window and saw not you, but, as I verily believe, the devil himself with a head of fire. "Oh," said she, "then you have seen the witch in her proper costume. I have been waiting for you and wanting you a long time already. You shall give me some light." Then she changed the girl into a block of wood and threw it into the fire, and when it was in full blaze, she sat down close to it and warmed herself by it and said, "That shines bright for once in a way." Huh. Interesting. I wanted to start with the short one. So she got turned into wood. Well, rip that girl. Why is it called The Girl Without Hands? Oh no, that was Fraudshrewd. Never mind. I'm dumb. It's not, yeah. It's not. I realize that. Next is Cinderella. The wife of a rich man fell sick, and as she felt that her end was drawing near, she called her only daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear child, be good and pious, and then the good God will always protect you, and I will look down on you from heaven and be near you." Thereupon she closed her eyes and departed. Every day the maiden went out to her mother's grave and wept, and she remained pious and good. When winter came, the snow spread a white sheet over the grave, and by the time the spring sun had drawn it off again, the man had taken another wife. The woman had brought with her into the house 2 daughters, who were beautiful and fair of face, but vile and black of heart. Now began a bad time for the poor stepchild. "Is the stupid goose to sit in the parlor with us?" they said. "He who wants to eat bread must earn it. Out with the kitchen wench." They took her pretty clothes away from her, put an old gray bedgown on her, and gave her wooden shoes. "Just look at the proud princess, how decked out she is," they cried, and laughed and led her into the kitchen. There she had to do hard work from morning till night, get up before daybreak, carry water, light fires, cook and wash. Besides this, the sister did her every imaginable injury. They mocked her and emptied her peas and lentils into the ashes, so that she was forced to sit and pick them out again. In the evening, when she had worked till she was weary and she had no bed to go to, but had to sleep by the hearth in cinders, and on that account she always looked dusty and dirty, they called her Cinderella. It happened that the father was once going to the fair, and he asked his 2 stepdaughters what he should bring back for them. "Beautiful dresses," said one. "Pearls and jewels," said the second. "And you, Cinderella," said he, "what will you have?" "Father, break off for me the first branch with knots against your hat on the way home." So he bought beautiful dresses, pearls, and jewels for his 2 stepdaughters. And on his way home, as he was riding through a green thicket, a hazel twig brushed against him and knocked off his hat. Then he broke off the branch and took it with him. When he reached home, and he gave his stepdaughters the things which they had wished for, and to Cinderella he gave the branch from the hazel bush. Cinderella thanked him, went to her mother's grave, and planted the branch on it, and wept so much that the tears fell down on it and watered it. And it grew and became a handsome tree. Thrice a day Cinderella went and sat beneath it, and wept and prayed, and a little white bird always came on the tree. And if Cinderella expressed a wish, the bird threw down to her what she had wished for. It happened, however, that the king gave orders for a festival which was to last 3 days, and to which all the beautiful young girls in the country were invited, in order that his son might choose himself a bride. When the 2 stepsisters heard that, they too were to appear among the number. They were delighted, called Cinderella and said, "Comb our hair for us, brush our shoes, and fasten our buckles, for we are going to the wedding at the king's palace." Cinderella obeyed, but wept, because she too would have liked to go with them to the dance, and begged her stepmother to allow her to do so. "You go, Cinderella," said she, "covered in dust and dirt as you are, and we go to the festival. You have no clothes and shoes, and yet would dance." As, however, Cinderella went on asking, the stepmother said at last, "I'd empty a dish of lentils into the ashes for you. If you have picked them out again in 2 hours, you shall go with us." The maiden went through the back door into the garden and called, "You tame pigeons, you tamed turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to pick. The good go into the pot, the bad into the crop." Then 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at last all the birds beneath the sky came roaring and crowding in, and alight amongst the ashes. And the pigeons nodded with their heads and began pick, 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 pick. And the rest also began pick, 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 and gathered all the good grains into the dish. Hardly had 1 hour passed before they had finished, and all flew out again. Then the girl took the dish to her stepmother and was glad, and believed that now she would be allowed to go with them to the festival. But the stepmother said, "No, Cinderella, you have no clothes, and you cannot dance. You would only be laughed at." And as Cinderella wept at this, the stepmother said, "If you can pick 2 dishes of lentils out of the ashes for me in 1 hour, you shall go with us." And she thought to herself that she most certainly cannot do it again. When the stepmother had emptied the 2 dishes of lentils amongst the ashes, the maiden went through the back door into the garden and cried, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to pick the good into the pot, the bad into the crop." Then 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at length all the birds beneath the sky came roaring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes, and the doves nodded with their heads and began pick, 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 and the others also pick, 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 and gathered all the good seeds into the dishes, and before half an hour was over, they had already finished, and all flew out again. Then the maiden was delighted, and believed that she might now go with them to the wedding. But the stepmother said, "All this will not help. You cannot go with us, for you have no clothes and cannot dance. We should be ashamed of you." On this, she turned her back on Cinderella and hurried away with her 2 proud daughters. As no one was now at home, Cinderella went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold thrown down over me." Then the bird threw a gold and silver dress down to her, and slippers embroidered with silk and silver. She put on the dress with all speed and went to the wedding. Her stepsisters and the stepmother, however, did not know her, and thought she must be a foreign princess, for she looked so beautiful in the golden dress. They never once thought of Cinderella, and believed that she was sitting at home in the dirt, picking lentils out of the ashes. The prince approached her, took her by the hand, and danced with her. He would dance with no other maiden, and never let loose of her hand, and if anyone else came to invite her, he said, "This is my partner." She danced till it was evening, and then she wanted to go home. But the king's son said, "I will go with you and bear you company," for he wished to see whom the beautiful maiden belonged. She escaped from him, however, and sprang into the pigeon house. The king's son waited until her father came, And then he told him that the unknown maiden had leapt into the pigeon house. The old man thought, can it be Cinderella? And they had to bring him an axe and a pickaxe that he might hew the pigeon house to pieces. But no one was inside it. And when they got home, Cinderella lay in her dirty clothes among the ashes, and a dim little oil lamp was burning on the mantelpiece. For Cinderella had quickly jumped down from the back of the pigeon house and had run to the little hazel tree, and there she had taken off her beautiful clothes and laid them on the grave, and the bird had taken them away again. And then she had seated herself in the kitchen amongst the ashes in her gray gown. Next day, when the festival began afresh and her parents and stepsisters had gone once more, Cinderella went to the hazel tree and said, "Shiver and quiver, my little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." Then the bird threw down a much more beautiful dress than on the preceding day, and when Cinderella appeared at the wedding in this dress, everyone was astonished at her beauty. The king's son had waited until she came and instantly took her by the hand and danced with no one but her. When others came and invited her, he said, "This is my partner." When evening came, she wished to leave, and the king's son followed her and wanted to see into which house she went. But she sprang away from him and into the garden behind the house. Therein stood a beautiful tall tree on which hung the most magnificent pears. She clambered so nimbly between the branches like a squirrel that the king's son did not know where she was gone. He waited until her father came and said to him, "The unknown maiden has escaped from me, and I believe she has climbed upon the pear tree." And the father thought, can it be Cinderella? And had an axe brought and cut the tree down, but no one was on it. And when they got into the kitchen, Cinderella lay there among the ashes as usual, for she had jumped down on the other side of the tree, had taken the beautiful dress to the bird on the little hazel tree, and put on her gray gown. On the third day, when the parents and sisters had gone away, Cinderella went once more to her mother's grave and said to the little tree, "Shiver and quiver, my little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." And now the bird threw down to her a dress which was much more splendid and magnificent than any she had yet had, and the slippers were golden. And when she went to the festival in the dress, no one knew how to speak for astonishment. The king's son danced with her only, and if anyone invited her to dance, he said, "This is my partner." When evening came, Cinderella wished to leave, and the king's son was anxious to go with her, but she escaped from him so quickly that he could not follow her. The king's son, however, had employed a ruse, and had caused the whole staircase to be smeared with pitch, and there, when she ran down, had the maiden's left slipper remained stuck. The king's son picked it up, and with it was small and dainty and all golden. Next morning, he went with it to the father, and said to him, "No one shall be my wife but she whose foot this golden slipper fits." Then were the two sisters glad, for they had pretty feet. The eldest went with the shoe into her room and wanted to try it on, and her mother stood by. But she could not get her big toe into it, and the shoe was too small for her. Then her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut the toe off. When you are queen, you will have no more need to go on foot." The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. Then he took her on his horse as his bride and rode away with her. They were obliged, however, to pass the grave, and there, on the hazel tree sat the two pigeons and cried. Turn and peep, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe is too small for her, the true bride awaits for you. Then he looked at her foot and saw how the blood was trickling from it. He turned his horse round and took the false bride home again and said that she was not the true one and that the other sister was to put the shoe on. Then this one went into her chamber and got her toes safely into the shoe, but her heel was too large. So her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut a bit off your heel. When you are queen, you will have no more need to go on foot." The maiden cut a bit off her heel, forced her foot into the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. He took her on his horse as his bride and rode away with her. But when they passed by the hazel tree, the two pigeons sat on it and cried, "Turn and peep, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe is too small for her, the true bride awaits for you." He looked down at her foot and saw how the blood was running out of her shoe and how it had stained her white stocking quite red. Then he turned his horse and took the false bride home again. "This is also not the right one," said he. "Have you no other daughter?" "No," said the man. "There is still a little stunted kitchen wench which my late wife left behind her, but she cannot possibly be the bride." The king's son said he was to send her up to him, but the mother answered, "Oh no, she is much too dirty, she cannot show herself." But he absolutely insisted on it, and Cinderella had to be called. She first washed her hands and face clean, and then went and bowed down before the king's son, who gave her the golden shoe. Then she seated herself on a stool, drew her foot out of the heavy wooden shoe, and put it into the slipper, which fitted like a glove. And when she rose up and the king's son looked at her face, he recognized the beautiful maiden who had danced with him and cried, "That is the true bride." The stepmother and the two sisters were horrified and became pale with rage. He, however, took Cinderella on his horse and rode away with her. As they passed by the hazel tree, the two white doves cried, "Turn and peep, turn and peep, no blood is in the shoe. The shoe is not too small for her, the true bride rides with you." And when they had cried that, the two came flying down and placed themselves on Cinderella's shoulders, one on the right, the other on the left, and remained sitting there. When the wedding with the king's son was to be celebrated, the two false sisters came and wanted to get into favor with Cinderella and share her good fortune. When the betrothed couple went to church, the elder was right at the side, and younger at the left, and the pigeons pecked out one eye from each of them. Afterwards, they came back, the elder was at the left, and the younger at the right, and then the pigeons pecked out the other eye from each. And thus, for their wickedness and falsehood, they are punished with blindness all their days. Huh. There's nothing about glass in here! There's no pumpkin! Where's the fairy godmother? Where did we get that stuff? Who invented that? I do like the little sing-song bird things, though. I will say, I did know that the one sister, she cut her toes off. But it wasn't just the big toe. It was like all of her toes was the one that I read. Disney did all of that? Really? It was only Disney? Huh. I didn't know that she was called Cinderella because of the ashes of the hearth, though. That's very interesting. Does that mean that she lost her name? Because, like, her dad didn't care anymore. So he probably was just like, yeah, sure, whatever, rename her, I don't care. It's kind of fucked up. All these poor, nice hiding spots. Yeah, yeah. I really had no idea. Because, like, you know, Disney went and gave us, oh yeah, Cinderella's dad died. Stepmother took over. So, you know. Good God. No wonder why they cut him out in, like, the retelling. They didn't want him to seem like a bad dad. But he was. Sucks to suck. Hold on. New bot name today. Botanical Shortstop 2T5 MPZS. Botanical Shortstop. Did they take my name generating, like, suggestions seriously? That's so funny. Hold on. I'll have to go back into the log and report that bot. It really just sounds like they're, like, clicking a name generator now. Much better. Much better. Thank you. Much better content. Let's see. Which one are you? I don't remember which one this one is. They heard you were jealous of my bots. Yeah, basically. Oh, this one's Hansel and Gretel. What the hell was the other one then? Let's see. Rumpelstiltskin, Hansel and Gretel. This is Rapunzel, right? Yeah, that's Rapunzel. This is the 12 Dancing Princesses. This is... I don't remember what this one is. These are kind of long. I like that. Alright. Hansel and Gretel is actually one of my favorites. So I'm kind of excited. Let's see, hold on. I need to consult with my list because having only 4 left is making me go, oh, maybe I'm reading these too fast. Oh, wait. Snow White's on here too, isn't it? Is Little Red Cap Little Red Riding Hood? Is this the one where... I think so. Yes. Okay, Little Red Cap is Little Red Riding Hood. That's gonna go there. Little Briar Rose. Isn't that, Sleeping Beauty? Yeah, that one's Sleeping Beauty. I love that one. Oh, the Golden Goose. Or am I remembering the wrong one? Is the Golden Goose... Or is there an Aesop fable that's named something about a gold goose too? Bless your wife. Hold on. Hold on. I need to check this over here. Hold on, because I need to skim through this one. Oh, no, we're not reading that one. Never mind. Damn. That one looked so funny. Maybe I should try and find one that's not... Hold on. I wonder if these ones are okay. Oh, this looks prettier. Hold on, I think I might use this one instead. Two five nine one / 2591 dash H 2591. Oop. Oh wait. Duh. Oh. Oh darn. Dang it. I thought I could just like edit the thing, but I can't. I gotta change this to... No, that's still... Well, then I'm in the way. Right? Damn. Hold on. Let me get myself out the way. There we go. Kind of out of the way. Good enough. I can't really see that all that well. If I do that and then I change it. Because then I can zoom in. Well, maybe I don't need to crop it. Cool. So there's this book. Oh, the Frog Prince! Little Redcap was on here. So let's do that. This visually looks better. It looks better than the weird typewriter thing we had going on before. Once upon a time, there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her, but most of all by her grandmother, and there was nothing that she would not have given to the child. Once, she gave her a little cap of red velvet, which suited her so well that she would never wear anything else again, so she was always called Little Redcap. One day, her mother said to her, "Come, Little Redcap, here's a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is ill and weak, and they will do her good. Set out before it gets hot, and when you are going, walk nicely and quietly, and do not run off the path, or you may fall and break the bottle, and then your grandmother will get nothing. And when you go into her room, don't forget to say good morning, and don't peep into every corner before you do it." "I will take great care," said Little Red Cap to her mother, and gave her hand on it. The grandmother lived out in the wood, half a league from the village, and just as Little Red Cap entered the wood, a wolf met her. Red Cap did not know what a wicked creature he was, and was not at all afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Cap," said he. "Thank you kindly, wolf. Whither away so early, Little Red Cap?" "To my grandmother's." "What have you got in your apron?" "Cake and wine. Yesterday was baking day, so poor sick grandmother is to have something good to make her stronger." "Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Cap?" "A good quarter of a league farther on the wood. Her house stands under the 3 large oak trees. The nut trees are just below. You surely must know it," replied Little Red Cap. The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender young creature. What a nice plump mouthful. She will be better to eat than the old woman. I must act craftily so as to catch both." So he walked for a short time by the side of Little Red Cap. "And then," said he, "see, Little Red Cap, how pretty the flowers are about here. Why do you not look around? I believe, too, that you do not hear how sweetly the little birds are singing. You walk gravely along as if you were going to school, while everything else out here in the wood is merry." Little Red Cap raised her eyes, and when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there through the trees, and pretty flowers growing everywhere, she thought, "Suppose I take grandmother a fresh nosegay. That would please her too. It is so early in the day that I shall still get there in good time." And so she ran from the path into the wood to look for flowers, and whenever she had picked one, she fancied that she saw a still prettier one farther on, and ran after it, and got deeper and deeper into the wood. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight on to the grandmother's house and knocked on the door. "Who is there?" "Little Red Cap," replied the wolf. "She is bringing cake and wine. Open the door." "Lift the latch," called out the grandmother. "I am too weak and cannot get up." The wolf lifted the latch. The door sprang open, and without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and devoured her. Then he put on her clothes, dressed himself in her cap, laid himself in bed, and drew the curtains. Little Red Cap, however, had been running about picking flowers, and when she had gathered so many that she could carry no more, she remembered her grandmother and set out on the way to her. She was surprised to find the cottage door standing open, and when she went into the room, she had such a strange feeling that she said to herself, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel today, and at other times I like being with grandmother so much." She called out, "Good morning," but received no answer, so she went to the bed and drew back the curtains. There lay her grandmother, with her cap pulled far over her face and looking very strange. "Oh, grandmother," she said, "what big ears you have!" "The better to hear you with, my child," was the reply. "But grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. "The better to see you with, my dear." "But grandmother, what large hands you have." "The better to hug you with." "Oh, but grandmother, what a terrible big mouth you have." "The better to eat you with." And scarcely had the wolf said this than with one bound he was out of bed and swallowed up Red Cap. When the wolf had appeased his appetite, he lay down again in the bed, fell asleep, and began to snore very loud. The huntsman was just passing the house and thought to himself, "How the old woman is snoring. I must see if she wants anything." So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw the wolf was lying in it. "Do I find you here, you old sinner?" said he. "I have long sought you." Then, just as he was going to fire at him, it occurred to him that the wolf might have devoured the grandmother, and that she still might be saved. So he did not fire, but took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the stomach of the sleeping wolf. When he had made 2 snips, he saw little Red Cap shining, and then he made 2 snips more, and the little girl sprang out crying, "Ah, how frightened I have been! How dark it was inside of the wolf!" And after that, the aged grandmother came out alive also, but scarcely able to breathe. Red Cap, however, quickly fetched great stones with which they filled the wolf's belly, and when he awoke, he wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he collapsed at once and fell dead. Then all 3 were delighted. The huntsman drew off the wolf's skin and went home with it. The grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine which Red Cap had brought, and revived. But Red Cap thought to herself, "As long as I live, I will never by myself leave the path to run into the wood when my mother has forbidden me to do so." It also related that once Red Cap was once again taking cakes to the old grandmother, another wolf spoke to her and tried to entice her from the path. Red Cap, however, was on her guard and went straight forward on her way and told her grandmother that she met the wolf and that he had said good morning to her, but with such a wicked look in his eyes that if they had not been on the public road, she was certain he would have eaten her up. "Well," said the grandmother, "we will shut the door that he may not come in." Soon afterwards, the wolf knocked and cried, "Open the door, grandmother. I am little Red Cap and bringing you some cakes." But they did not speak or open the door. So the gray beard stole twice or thrice round the house, and at last jumped on the roof, intending to wait until Red Cap went home in the evening, and then to steal after her and devour her in the darkness. But the grandmother saw what was in his thoughts. In front of the house was a great stone trough, so she said to the child, "Take the pail, Red Cap. I made some sausages yesterday, so carry the water in which I boiled them to the trough." Red Cap carried until the great trough was quite full. Then the smell of sausages reached the wolf, and he sniffed and peeped down, and at last stretched out his neck so far that he could no longer keep his footing and began to slip, and slipped down from the roof straight into the great trough and was drowned. But Red Cap went joyously home, and no one ever did anything to harm her again. Sausage water. Boiled sausage water is what killed a second wolf. Why is there a second wolf? Why didn't she just, ignore him? How did that second wolf know to say that there was cakes? This sounds like a conspiracy. I think all of the wolves in that forest were conspiring against these people. Death by sausage water. Imagine going... Imagine being the wolf, and you go straight into hell after all this, and everybody's like, "Hey, buddy, how did you die?" And he's like, sausage water." Be wary of speaking forest creatures. Yeah, right? Why are the forest creatures speaking? And everybody's like, yeah, this is so normal. What? Also, without anesthesia, why did the first wolf not wake up when they were surgically removing the little girl and the grandmother from him? Why did he only die when he was unable to move from, the stones? Was he, like, bleeding out the entire time and they just forgot to mention that as a detail in the story? I'm reading too far into this. I know I am. Yeah, they skinned him after he died. Hold on. Let me go back to that. Little red cap. Hold on. But see, he took a pair of scissors and he cut open the stomach of the sleeping wolf. And then they filled him with stones. He wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he collapsed at once and fell dead. And then all three were delighted, and then the huntsman skinned him. So, like, you know. Dying from hot dog water seems a very New York situation, not Forest. God. Hey, buddy. How'd you die? Hot dog water. I still can't. Oh. He was so sleepy that it acted as anesthesia. Briar Rose! Yay! Sleeping Beauty! Wait, hold on. Let me skim this. Hold on. Because I don't... Okay, cool. Alright, I skimmed it. Filled with stone... Oh, wait. I missed one. I am sure that 2 entire people would be more meat than... Especially if, like... I mean, one of them was sick. He was bound to get sick from the tainted meat, right? Filled with stones, skinned. I don't think the wolf is surviving that. Yeah! But how did the gray wolf, like, know... Hey, let's pretend to be the little girl. Also, why are these wolves so good at mimicking this little girl's voice? It's a conspiracy. It's gotta be. I still think hot dog water is the craziest thing of the night. What do you mean what do you mean? Why are wolves stalking women and children? Well, I mean, it's an old lady. So, you know, easy pickings. It's a forest magic. Pretty sure these were just hairy men. You know, they might have been. It might have been just like a cautionary tale against strangers. Like that whole, oh, don't talk to strangers, kids. If they say, hey, I'm friends with your mom, they're not. You know? Anyway, Briar Rose is okay. All Grimm tales are caution. Yeah, that's true. Hold on, let me finish this. I, unsurprisingly, have food. I am eating nuggets in between these. Because I wanted nuggets. They're the good crispy kind. Oh, I should take a drink. Because if I'm reading, it's a lot of talking. All right. I'm ready. I took a drink. I finished my nugget. We're good. A king and queen, once upon a time, reigned in a country a great way off, where there were in those days fairies. Now, this king and queen had plenty of money, and plenty of fine clothes to wear, and plenty of good things to eat and drink, and a coach to ride out in every day. But though they had been married many years, they had no children, and this grieved them very much indeed. But one day, as the queen was walking by the side of the river, at the bottom of the garden she saw a poor little fish that had thrown itself out of the water and lay gasping and nearly dead on the bank. Then the queen took pity on the little fish and threw it back into the river. And before it swam away, it lifted its head out of the water and said, "I know what your wish is, and it shall be fulfilled. In return for your kindness to me, you will soon have a daughter." What the little fish had foretold soon came to pass, and the queen had a little girl, so very beautiful that the king could not cease looking on for joy, and said he would hold a great feast and make merry and show the child to all the land. So he asked his kinsmen and nobles and friends and neighbors, but the queen said, "I will have the fairies I will have the fairies also, that they might be kind and good to our little daughter." Now, there were 13 fairies in the kingdom, but as the king and queen had only 12 golden dishes for them to eat out of, they were forced to leave one of the fairies without asking her. So 12 fairies came, each with a high red cap on her head and red shoes with high heels on her feet and a long white wand in her hand. And after the feast was over, they gathered round in a ring and gave all their best gifts to the little princess. One gave her goodness, another beauty, another riches, and so on till she had all that was good in the world. Just as 11 of them had done blessing her, a great noise was heard in the courtyard, and word was brought that the 13th fairy was come, with a black cap on her head, and black shoes on her feet, and a broomstick in her hand. And presently up she came into the dining hall. Now, as she had not been asked to the feast, she was very angry, and scolded the king and queen very much, and set to work to take her revenge. So she cried out, "The king's daughter shall, in her 15th year, be wounded by a spindle and fall down dead." Then the 12 of the fairies who had not yet given her gift came forward and said that the evil wish must be fulfilled, but that she could soften its mischief. So her gift was that the king's daughter, when the spindle wounded her, would not really die, but should only fall asleep for 100 years. However, the king still hoped to save his dear child altogether from the threatened evil, so he ordered that all the spindles in the kingdom should be brought up and burnt. But all the gifts of the first 11 fairies were in the meantime fulfilled, for the princess was so beautiful and well behaved and good and wise that everyone who knew her loved her. It happened that on the very day she was 15 years old, the king and queen were not at home, and she was left alone in the palace. So she roved about by herself and looked at all the rooms and chambers, till at last she came to an old tower, to which there was a narrow staircase ending with a little door. In the door there was a golden key, and when she turned it, the door sprang open, and there sat an old lady spinning away very busily. "Why, how now, good mother," said the princess. "What are you doing here?" "Spinning," said the old lady. and nodded her head, humming a tune, while buzz went the wheel. "How prettily that little thing turns round," said the princess, and took the spindle and began to try and spin. But scarcely had she touched it before the fairy's prophecy was fulfilled. The spindle wounded her, and she fell down lifeless on the ground. However, she was not dead, but had only fallen into a deep sleep. And the king and the queen, who had just come home, and all their court, fell asleep too. And the horses slept in the stables, and the dogs in the court, the pigeons on the housetop, and the very flies slept upon the walls. Even the fire on the hearth left off blazing and went to sleep. The jack stopped, and the spit that was turning about where the goose upon it for the king's dinner stood still. And the cook, who was at the moment pulling the kitchen boy by the hair to give him a box on the ear for something he had done amiss, let him go, and both fell asleep. The butler, who was slyly tasting the ale, fell asleep with the jug at his lips, and thus everything stood still and slept soundly. A large hedge of thorns soon grew round the palace, and every year it became higher and thicker, till at last the old palace was surrounded and hidden, so that not even the roof or the chimneys could be seen. But there went a report through all the land of the beautiful sleeping Briar Rose, for so the king's daughter was called, so that from time to time several king's sons came and tried to break through the thicket into the palace. This, however, none of them could ever do, for the thorns and bushes laid hold of them as it were with hands, and there they stuck fast and died wretchedly. After many, many years, there came a king's son into that land, and an old man told him the story of the thicket of thorns, and how a beautiful palace stood behind it, and how a wonderful princess called Briar Rose lay in it asleep, with all her court. He told, too, how he had heard from his grandfather that many, many princes had come and had tried to break through the thicket, but that they all stuck fast in it and died. Then the young prince said, "All this shall not frighten me. I will go and see this Briar Rose." The old man tried to hinder him, but he was bent upon going. Now, that very day the 100 years were ended, and as the prince came to the thicket, he saw nothing but beautiful flowering shrubs, through which he went with ease, and they shut in after him as thick as ever. Then he came at last to the palace, and there in the court lay the dogs asleep, and the horses were standing in the stables, and on the roof sat the pigeons fast asleep with their heads under their wings. And when he came into the palace, the flies were sleeping on the walls, the spit was standing still, the butler had the jug of ale at his lips, going to drink a draught, the maid sat with a fowl in her lap, ready to be plucked, and the cook in the kitchen was still holding up her hand, as if she was going to beat the boy. Then he went on still farther, and all was so still that he could hear every breath he drew, till at last he came to the old tower and opened the door of the little room in which Briar Rose was, and there she lay, fast asleep on a couch by the window. She looked so beautiful that he could not take his eyes off her, so he stooped down and gave her a kiss. But the moment he kissed her, she opened her eyes and awoke and smiled upon him, and they went out together. And soon the king and queen also awoke, and all the court, and gazed on each other with great wonder. And the horses shook themselves, and the dogs jumped up and barked. The pigeons took their heads from under their wings and looked about and flew into the fields. The flies on the walls buzzed again. The fire in the kitchen blazed up, Round went the jack, and round went the spit, with the goose on the king's dinner upon it. The butler finished his draught of ale, the maid went on plucking the fowl, and the cook gave the boy the box on his ear. And then the prince and Briar Rose were married, and the wedding feast was given, and they lived happily together all their lives long. So it wasn't that true love's kiss, like, fixed it. It was just, he so happened to be there on the right day. And they just got married. Because she was like, yeah, sure, whatever. What? What? Where's the love? All he went was Awooga. I like this one. That's so... Wait, that's so anticlimactic. Not nearly as good. Yeah, exactly. Not nearly as good. That's so anticlimactic. Like, oh, she got cursed and she fell asleep. Okay. Cool. But where's the love? Where's my love? Oh wait, I said I wasn't gonna do crazy voices. My bad. Man. It ended with like a good ending, but all he did was get married to the princess because good circumstances. He didn't do shit. He didn't fight a dragon. He didn't do anything. He just went, oh, she's pretty. And that was it. Man. Sometimes it's just right place, right time. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Sometimes a good situation just so happens upon you. But still, that's not the kind of story you want to read. Because again, all she did was wake up and go, how you doing? Although, if she woke up and she went, yes, we're getting married, is that like him choosing her or her choosing him? Okay, so hold on. Let me think about this in a different way then. She woke up, saw this dude, and went, oh, this guy, I want this one. And he even went along with it. So maybe he just lucked out. That was his lucky day. Love at first sight? Yeah. Probably. I'm kind of really glad that, like, over the centuries, we've developed, like, in-depth, storytelling. You know, like, descriptive things, going into thoughts, going into feelings, going into describing the setting, or even describing situations. You know, they always, like, clown on anime for having, like, the anime expose segments of, like, episodes where they go and they describe, like, random stuff instead of, like, showing a flashback or whatever. But you kind of have to give that if there's no other ability to do story building. At least certain situations make it to where you need that. But stories like this, you have to, like, infer. You have to put things in your own brain and, like, go, huh, you know what? I'm going to, like, headcanon this is what the situation was like. Because we don't really know if it was like love at first sight, or if she felt obligated because she woke up to him, or maybe he said something funny and she went, you know what, I like this. This is good. Or maybe their kingdom had this thing where like you have to get married to the first prince that you see after like you wake up from the 100-year sleep. They also glossed over like what the other fairies blessed the princess with. Wait, where the hell did Disney get the name Aurora from? Because, like, that's what her name was in the Disney version. Hold on. Why is her name Aurora in the Disney version? Pretty name, that's likely it. Let's see. Disney named the Princess Aurora because the name comes from Charles Perrault's version of the fairy tale, where the princess is referred to by her daughter's name, and the Tchaikovsky ballet also used Aurora for the title character. Disney chose the name, which is Latin for dawn, and relates to the Roman goddess of the sunrise, to symbolize the princess as a great source of sunshine and a long-awaited joy for her parents. So that's why. There's actually symbolism behind it. Go figure. The only Disney name I know the origin of is Lord Farquaad. That's not even Disney. That's DreamWorks. That's so funny. The only Disney name you know of is a non-Disney name. Why is Google telling me to not read Hansel and Gretel? Anyway, it was the closest they could get to calling him fuckwad? Oh, God. A sudden migraine. That's not good. You should take medicine. I'm gonna read this one next. I've never heard of this one. Take a sip of drink. All right, time to gamba on the stories. Here's hoping that I don't come across one that's kind of bad. But yeah, be sure to take medicine, okay? Oh God, excuse me. A certain king had a beautiful garden, and in the garden stood a tree which bore golden apples. These apples were always counted, and about the time when they began to grow ripe, it was found that every night one of them was gone. The king became very angry at this, and ordered the gardener to keep watch all night under the tree. The gardener set his eldest son to watch, but about 12 o'clock he fell asleep, and in the morning another of the apples was missing. Then the second son was ordered to watch, and at midnight he too fell asleep, and in the morning another apple was gone. Then the third son offered to keep watch, but the gardener at first would not let him, for fear some harm should come to him. However, at last he consented, and the young man laid himself under the tree to watch. As the clock struck 12, he heard a rustling noise in the air, and a bird came flying that was of pure gold. And as it was snapping at one of the apples with its beak, the gardener's son jumped up and shot an arrow at it. But the arrow did the bird no harm, only it dropped a golden feather from its tail and then flew away. The golden feather was brought to the king in the morning, and all the council was called together. Everyone agreed that it was worth more than all the wealth of the kingdom. But the king said, "One feather is of no use to me. I must have the whole bird." Then the gardener's eldest son set out and thought to find the golden bird very easily. And when he had gone but a little way, he came to a wood, and by the side of the wood he saw a fox sitting. So he took his bow and made ready to shoot at it. Then the fox said, "Do not shoot me, for I will give you good counsel. I know what your business is, and that you want to find the golden bird. You will reach a village in the evening, and when you get there, you will see 2 inns opposite to each other, one of which is very pleasant to look at. Go not in there, but rest for the night in the other, though it may appear to you to be very poor and mean." But the son thought to himself, "What can such a beast as this know about the matter?" So he shot his arrow at the fox, but he missed it, and it set up its tail above its back and ran into the wood. Then he went his way, and in the evening came to the village where the 2 inns were. And in one of these were people singing and dancing and feasting, but the other looked very dirty and poor. "I should be very silly," said he, "if I went into that shabby house and left this charming place." So he went into the smart house and ate and drank at his ease and forgot the bird and his country too. Time passed on, and as the eldest son did not come back and no tidings were heard of him, the second son set out, and the same thing happened to him. He met the fox, who gave him the good advice, but when he came to the 2 inns, his eldest brother was standing at the window where the merrymaking was, and called to him to come in, and he could not withstand the temptation, but went in and forgot the golden bird and his country in the same manner. Time passed on again, and the youngest son too wished to set out into the wide world to seek for the golden bird. But his father would not listen to it for a long while, for he was very fond of his son, and was afraid that some ill luck might happen to him also and prevent his coming back. However, at last it was agreed he should go, for he would not rest at home, and as he came to the wood, he met the fox and heard the same good counsel. But he was thankful to the fox and did not attempt his life as his brothers had done. So the fox said, "Sit upon my tail and you will travel faster." So he sat down, and the fox began to run, and away they went over stock and stone so quick that their hair whistled in the wind. When they came to the village, the son followed the fox's counsel, and without looking about him, went into the shabby inn and rested there all night at his ease. In the morning came the fox again, and met him as he was beginning his journey, and said, "Go straight forward, till you come to a castle, before which lie a whole troop of soldiers fast asleep and snoring. Take no notice of them, But go into the castle and pass on and on till you come to a room where the golden bird sits in a wooden cage. Close by it stands a beautiful golden cage, but do not try to take the bird out of the shabby cage and put it into the handsome one, otherwise you will repent it." Then the fox stretched out his tail again, and the young man sat himself down, and away they went over stock and stone till their hair whistled in the wind. Before the castle gate all was the fox had said. So the son went in and found the chamber where the golden bird hung in a wooden cage, and below stood the golden cage, and the 3 golden apples that had been lost were lying close by it. Then he thought to himself, "It will be a very droll thing to bring away such a fine bird in this shabby cage." So he opened the door and took hold of it and put it into the golden cage. But the bird set up such a loud scream that all the soldiers awoke, and they took him prisoner and carried him before the king. The next morning the court sat to judge him, and when all was heard, it sentenced him to die, unless he should bring the king the golden horse which could run as swiftly as the wind, and if he did this, he was to have the golden bird given to him for his own. So he set out once more on his journey, sighing and in great despair, when on a sudden his friend the fox met him and said, "You see now what has happened on account of your not listening to my counsel. I will still, however, tell you how to find the golden horse, if you will do as I bid you. You must go straight on till you come to the castle where the horse stands in his stall. By his side will lie the groom, fast asleep and snoring. Take away the horse quietly. But be sure to put the old leathern saddle upon him, and not the golden one that was close by it." Then the son sat down on the fox's tail, and away they went over stock and stone till their hair whistled in the wind. All went right, and the groom lay snoring with his hand upon the golden saddle. But when the son looked at the horse, he thought it a great pity to put the leathern saddle upon it. "I will give him a good one," said he. "I am sure he deserves it." As he took up the golden saddle, the groom awoke and cried out so loud that all the guards ran in and took him prisoner. And in the morning he was again brought before the court to be judged and was sentenced to die. But it was agreed that if he could bring thither the beautiful princess, he should live and have the bird and the horse given him for his own. Then he went on his way very sorrowful. But the old fox came and said, "Why did you not listen to me? If you had, you would have carried away both the bird and the horse. Yet I will once more give you counsel. Go straight on, and in the evening you will arrive at a castle. At 12 o'clock at the night, the princess goes to the bathing house. Go up to her and give her a kiss, and she will let you lead her away. But take care you do not suffer her to go and take leave of her father and mother." Then the fox stretched out his tail, and so away they went over stock and stone till their hair whistled again. As they came to the castle, all was as the fox had said, and at 12 o'clock the young man met the princess going to the bath and gave her the kiss, and she agreed to run away with him, but begged with many tears that he would let her take leave of her father. At first he refused, but she wept still more and fell at his feet till at last he consented. But the moment she came to her father's house, the guards awoke and he was taken prisoner again. Then he was brought before the king, and the king said, "You shall never have my daughter unless in 8 days you dig away the hill that stops the view from my window." Now, this hill was so big that the whole world could not take it away. And when he had worked for 7 days and had done very little, the fox came and said, "Lie down and go to sleep. I will work for you." And in the morning he awoke and the hill was gone. So he went merrily to the king and told him that now that it was removed, he must give him the princess. And the king was obliged to keep his word, and away went the young man and the princess. And the fox came and said to him, "We will have all 3, the princess, the horse, and the bird." "Ah," said the young man, "that would be a great thing, but how can you contrive it?" "If you will only listen," said the fox, "it can be done. When you come to the king and he asks for the beautiful princess, you must say, 'Here she is.' Then he will be very joyful, and you will mount the golden horse that they are to give you and put out your hand to take leave of them, but shake hands with the princess last. Then lift her quickly onto the horse behind you, clap your spurs to his side, and gallop away as fast as you can." All went right. Then the fox said, "When you come to the castle where the bird is, I will stay with the princess at the door, and you will ride in and speak to the king. And when he sees that it is the right horse, he will bring out the bird, but you must sit still and say that you want to look at it, to see whether it is the true golden bird. And when you get it into your hand, ride away." This too happened as the fox said. They carried off the bird, the princess mounted again, and they rode on to a great wood. Then the fox came and said, "Pray, kill me and cut off my head and my feet." But the young man refused to do it. So the fox said, "I will at any rate give you good counsel. Beware of 2 things. Ransom no one from the gallows, and sit down by the side of no river." Then away he went. Well, thought the young man, it is no hard matter to keep that advice. He rode on with the princess, till at last he came to the village where he had left his 2 brothers. And there he heard a great noise and an uproar, and when he asked what was the matter, the people said 2 men are going to be hanged. And as he came nearer, he saw that the 2 men were his brothers, who had turned robbers. So he said, "Cannot they in any way be saved?" But the people said no, unless he would bestow all his money upon the rascals and buy their liberty. Then he did not stay to think about the matter, but paid what was asked, and his brothers were given up and went on with him towards their home. As they came to the wood where the fox first met them, it was so cool and pleasant that the 2 brothers said, "Let us sit down by the side of the river and rest a while, to eat and drink." So he said yes, and forgot the fox's counsel, and sat down on the side of the river, and while he suspected nothing, they came behind and threw him down the bank and took the princess, the horse, and the bird, and went home to the king, their master, and said, "All this we won by our labor." Then there was great rejoicing made, but the horse would not eat, and the bird would not sing, and the princess wept. The youngest son fell to the bottom of the river's bed. Luckily, it was nearly dry, but his bones were almost broken, and the bank was so steep that he could find no way to get out. Then the old fox came once more and scolded him for not following his advice. Otherwise, no evil would have befallen him. "Yet," said he, "I cannot leave you here. So lay hold of my tail and hold fast." Then he pulled him out of the river and said to him as he got upon the bank, "Your brothers have set watch to kill you if they find you in the kingdom." So He dressed himself as a poor man and came secretly to the king's court and was scarcely within the doors when the horse began to eat and the bird to sing and the princess left off weeping. Then he went to the king and told him all his brother's roguery. Then they were seized and punished, and he had the princess given to him again. And after the king's death, he was heir to his kingdom. A long while after, he went to walk one day in the wood, and the old fox met him and besought him with tears in his eyes to kill him and cut off his head and feet. And at last he did so, and in a moment the fox was changed to a man and turned out to be the brother of the princess who had been lost a great many, many years. I'm sorry, the what? That's the last of it? What? Huh? What? Huh? What did I just read? What? I'm kind of baffled now. Okay. Well, apparently, if you don't listen, then the person's not gonna be free? What? Okay, that's a true story, because I don't even know what to take from that. Like, yeah, he probably should have listened to the fox in the first place, but wait, so he and the princess got married, right? Wait, so why did he like ask for death? All he had to do was listen to the forest creature. Yeah, but for why? What happened? I'm still confused as to what the fox being the brother of the princess like has to do with it. Because now he's dead. I'm so lost. Haven't you been paying attention? We all know things. No! You're gonna lead me down a rabbit hole, and then I'm never gonna get out. I will not drink your potions. I don't care how... Oh wait, no, you're not the one who drinks the potion. Or gives the potion either. Are you? Or are you? Now I forget how the Alice in Wonderland story goes. Oh! Did you know that I could read Alice in Wonderland for free on stream and not have any concern about, like, being taken down? Apparently it's actually on here. Like this website. Story's over 100 years old. Yeah, that's very true. No, but on an ebook. I'd have to download it. Oh wait, does this Read now button go to... Oh, it does! Oh, but if I start reading the Alice in Wonderland book, that's gonna be so much longer than just one stream. And then I'll have to, like, pick it back up another time, because I don't want to, like, finish without doing anything. Another day we're doing Grimm. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. There's quite a bunch of stories in this book, too. I've actually never read the OG, like, stories of these. I didn't even know about that Golden Bird one. That was really interesting. I'm still confused about the brother. I know some people in, like, stories have been like, oh my god, I'm cursed. Like, free me from this curse using my death. But I don't know. Because, like, think about it. If he was listened to in the first place by the first brother, right? His sister would have never even, like, have been saved or anything. You know? So, it's one of those things. Hans in luck. Hans, like just a generalized... Is Hans just a general name? Is it basically like calling somebody John Smith? Yeah? Oh. Cause it's so funny. My grandmother had, like, when she was alive and she was doing her, like, online community thing, she had like an online best friend over in Holland, or the Netherlands, or whatever people want to call it nowadays. I call it Holland because that's what she called it. His name was Hans, and so every time I see that name, I either think of Hans Christian Andersen or Hans, my grandmother's friend. I think he was like basically her second in command or moderator or whatever for her online community. Cause she was always in, like, voice chat with him. And they were just talking and yapping away in Dutch. It was really, really interesting. I never quite picked up on the language, so I never understood what they were talking about, but they were in, like, so many conversations on a daily basis. And his wife would sometimes join the conversation, and they would be on, like, it wasn't just, like, regular voice chat either. It was like video chat and everything. Hans is short for, oh, Johann, which in English is John. Yeah. Oh, so it literally is just like John Smith. That's funny. I love that. I accidentally do know that it's John. That's so funny. All right. Hans in Luck. Never heard of it. Time to read it. Oh god. Oh god. Oh no, there's something stuck in my throat. Hold on. Okay. Alright, I drank water. Some men are born to good luck. All they do or try to do comes right. All that falls to them is so much gain. All their geese are swans. All their cards are trumps. Toss them which way you will, they will always, like poor puss, alight upon their legs, and only move on so much the faster. The world may very likely not always think of them as they think of themselves, but what care they for the world, and what can it know about the matter? One of these lucky beings was neighbor Hans. 7 long years he had worked hard for his master. At last he said, "Master, my time is up. I must go home and see my poor mother once more. So pray, pay me my wages and let me go." And the master said, "You have been a faithful and good servant, Hans, so your pay shall be handsome." Then he gave him a lump of silver as big as his head. Hans took out his pocket handkerchief, put the piece of silver into it, threw it over his shoulder, and jogged off on his road homeward. As he went lazily on, dragging one foot after another, a man came in sight, trotting gaily along on a capital horse. "Ah," said Hans aloud, "what a fine thing it is to ride on horseback. There he sits as easy and happy as if he was at home in the chair by his fireside. He trips against no stones, saves shoe leather, and gets on he hardly knows how." Hans did not speak so softly, but the horseman heard it all, and said, "Well, friend, why do you go on foot then?" "Ah," said he, "I have this load to carry. To be sure it is silver, but it is so heavy that I can't hold up my head, and you must know it hurts my shoulder." Sadly, "Oh God." "What do you say of making an exchange?" said the horseman. "I will give you my horse, and you shall give me the silver, which will save you a great deal of trouble in carrying such a heavy load about with you." "With all my heart," said Hans, "but as you are so kind to me, I must tell you one thing. You will have a weary task to draw that silver about with you." However, the horseman got off, took the silver, helped Hans up, gave him the bridle into one hand and the whip into the other, and said, "When you want to go very fast, smack your lips loudly and cry, 'Yip.'" Hans was delighted as he sat down on the horse, drew himself up, squared his elbows, turned out his toes, cracked his whip, and rode merrily off, 1 minute whistling a merry tune and another singing, "No care and no sorrow, a fig for the morrow, we'll laugh and be merry, sing neigh down dairy." After a time he thought he should like to go a little faster, so he smacked his lips and cried, "Yip." Away went the horse, full gallop, and before Hans knew what he was about, he was thrown off and lay on his back by the roadside. His horse would have ran off if a shepherd who was coming by driving a cow had not stopped it. Hans soon came to himself and got upon his legs again, sadly vexed, and said to the shepherd, "This riding is no joke. When a man has the luck to get upon a beast like this that stumbles and flings him off as if it would break his neck. However, I am off now once for all. I like your cow now a great deal better than this smart beast that played me this trick and has spoiled my best coat you see in this puddle, which, by the by, smells not very like a nosegay. One can walk along at one's leisure behind that cow, keep good company, and have milk, butter, and cheese every day into the bargain. What I would give to have such a prize. "Well," said the shepherd, "if you are so fond of her, I will change my cow for your horse. I like to do good to my neighbors, even though I lose by it myself." "Done," said Hans merrily. "What a noble heart that good man has," thought he. Then the shepherd jumped upon the horse, wished Hans and the cow good morning, and away he rode. Hans brushed his coat, wiped his face and hands, rested a while, and then drove off his cow quietly and thought his bargain a very lucky one. If I have only a piece of bread, and I certainly shall always be able to get that, I can, whenever I like, eat my butter and cheese with it. And when I am thirsty, I can milk my cow and drink the milk. And what can I wish for more? When he came to an inn, he halted, ate up all his bread, and gave away his last penny for a glass of beer. When he had rested himself, he set off again, driving his cow towards his mother's village. But the heat grew greater as soon as noon came on, till at last he found himself on a wide heath that would take him more than an hour to cross. He began to be so hot and parched that his tongue clave to the roof of his mouth. "I can find a cure for this," thought he. "Now I will milk my cow and quench my thirst." So he tied her to the stump of a tree and held his leathern cap to milk into. But no, not a drop was to be had. Who would have thought that this cow, which was to bring him milk and butter and cheese, was all that time utterly dry? Hans had not thought of looking to that. While he was trying his luck in milking and managing the matter very clumsily, the uneasy beast began to think him very troublesome, and at last gave him such a kick on the head as knocked him down, and there he lay a long while senseless. Luckily, a butcher soon came by, driving a pig in a wheelbarrow. "What is the matter with you, my man?" said the butcher, as he helped him up. Hans told him what had happened, how he was dry and wanted to milk his cow, but found that the cow was dry too. When the butcher gave him a flask of ale, saying, "There, drink and refresh yourself. Your cow will give you no milk. Don't you see, she is an old beast, good for nothing but the slaughterhouse." "Alas, alas," said Hans, "who would have thought it? What a shame to take my horse and give me only a dry cow. If I kill her, what will she be good for? I hate cow beef. It is not tender enough for me. If it were a pig now, like that fat gentleman you are driving along with at his ease, one could do something with it. It would at any rate make sausages." "Well," said the butcher, "I don't like to say no, when one is asked to do a kind neighborly thing. To please you, I will change and give you my fine fat pig for the cow." "Heaven reward you for your kindness and self-denial," said Hans, as he gave the butcher the cow, and taking the pig off the wheelbarrow, drove it away, holding it by the string that was tied to its leg. So on he jogged, and all seemed now to go right with him. He had met with some misfortunes, to be sure, but he was now well repaid for all. How could it be otherwise with such a traveling companion as he had at last got? The next man he met was a countryman carrying a fine white goose. The countryman stopped to ask what was o'clock. This led to further chat, and Hans told him all his luck, how he had so many good bargains, and how all the world went gay and smiling with him. The countryman then began to tell his tale, and said he was going to take the goose to a christening. "Feel," said he, "how heavy it is, and yet it is only 8 weeks old. Whoever roasts and eats it will find plenty of fat upon it. It has lived so well. "You're right," said Hans as he weighed it in his hand. "But if you talk of fat, my pig is no trifle." Meantime, the countryman began to look grave and shook his head. "Hark ye," said he, "my worthy friend, you seem a good sort of fellow, so I can't help doing you a kind turn. Your pig may get you into a scrape. In the village I just came from, the squire has had a pig stolen out of his sty. I was dreadfully afraid when I saw you that you had got the squire's pig. If you have, and they catch you, it will be a bad job for you. The least they will do will be to throw you into the horse pond. Can you swim?" Poor Hans was sadly frightened. "Good man," cried he, "pray get me out of this scrape. I know nothing of where the pig was either bred or born, but he may have been the squire's for aught I can tell. You know this country far better than I do. Take my pig and give me the goose." "I ought to have something into the bargain," said the countryman. "Give a fat goose for a pig indeed. 'Tis not everyone would do so much for you as that. However, I will not be hard upon you, as you are in trouble." Then he took the string in his hand and drove off the pig by a side path, while Hans went on the way, homewards free from care. "After all," thought he, "that chap is pretty well taken in. I don't care whose pig it is, but wherever it came from, it has been a very good friend to me. I have much the best of the bargain. First, there will be a capital roast, and the fat will find me in goose grease for 6 months. And then there are all the beautiful white feathers. I will put them into my pillow, and then I am sure I shall sleep soundly without rocking. How happy my mother will be! Talk of a pig indeed! Give me a fine fat goose." And so he came to the next village. He saw a scissor grinder with his wheel, working and singing. "O'er hill and o'er dale, so happy I roam, work light and live well, all the world is my home. Then who so blithe, so merry as I?" Hans stood looking on for a while, and at last said, "You must be well off, Master Grinder. You seem so happy at your work." "Yes," said the other, "mine is a golden trade. A good grinder never puts his hand into his pocket without finding money in it. But where did you get that beautiful goose?" "I did not buy it. I gave a pig for it." "And where did you get the pig?" "I gave a cow for it." "And the cow?" "I gave a horse for it." "And the horse?" "I gave a lump of silver as big as my head for it." "And the silver?" "Oh, I worked hard for that 7 long years." "You have thriven well in the world hitherto," said the grinder. "Now, if you could find money in your pocket whenever you put your hand in it, your fortune would be made." "Very true, but how is that to be managed?" "How? Why, you must turn grinder like myself," said the other. "You only want a grindstone. The rest will come of itself. Here is one that is but little the worse for wear. I would not ask more than the value of your goose for it. Will you buy?" "How can you ask?" said Hans. "I should be the happiest man in the world if I could have money whenever I put my hand in my pocket. What could I want more? There's the goose." "Now," said the grinder, as he gave him a common rough stone that lay by his side, "this is a most capital stone. Do but work it well enough, and you can make an old nail cut with it." Hans took the stone and went his way with a light heart. His eyes sparkled for joy, and he said to himself, "Surely I must have been born in a lucky hour. Everything I could want or wish for comes of itself. People are so kind. They seem really to think I do them a favor in letting them make me rich and giving me good bargains. Meantime, he began to be tired and hungry too, for he had given away his last penny in joy at getting the cow. At last, he could go no farther, for the stone tired him sadly, and he dragged himself to the side of a river that he might take a drink of water and rest a while. So, he laid the stone carefully by his side on the bank, but as he stooped down to drink, he forgot it, pushed it a little, and down it rolled, plump into the stream. For a while, he watched it sinking in the deep, clear water, then sprang up and danced for joy, and again fell upon his knees and thanked heaven with tears in his eyes for its kindness in taking away his only plague, the ugly, heavy stone. "How happy am I," cried he. "Nobody was so ever so lucky as I." Then he got up with a light heart, free from all his troubles, and walked on till he reached his mother's house, and told her how very easy the road to good luck was. He was duped. He was taken advantage of. He was duped. Repeatedly. Why didn't he just keep the goddamn goose? Why did he trade the goose for a stone? I bet you he didn't even know how to use the damn thing. Ugh. He wasn't smart. He wasn't lucky. He was an idiot. Why would you trade all that stuff? If he had butchered the cow, he could have just sold the cow. Like the parts of the cow. Traded all of that. That would have given him so many more trades. Like, sure, going from horse to cow, I mean, you know, one could argue that, but he didn't know how to ride the damn horse. He got a cow instead. Just butcher it. Trade off its parts. So many more trades could have come off of that cow. What a loser. My God. That wasn't lucky. He came home with nothing. I bet his mother got her shoe and swacked him with it. Went pa-pow, right on his head. Working for 7 years and came home with nothing but swindled. Well, that's what I said. Sure, he can't ride the horse, but he should have kept the cow. Should have kept the pig. What about the goose? The goose could have given him an egg. The goose was young. The eggs could have bred more goose. More geese. Breed the geese. For sure, I thought he was gonna go home with the fucking goose. He was still duped. A mess. Insert master grinder joke here. Toma. No. No master grinder. You leave the master grinder jokes alone. It's supposed to be a low-key night. Have you been around geese? I have. I have indeed. But I mean, hey, if that's what your region uses for domesticated, like, birds, that's kind of what you got to work with, you know? But again, if the cow was beyond her time, right? Butcher her, sell that. Could have kept the pig. He could have been like, oh, gee, thanks. Thank you for telling me that, like, somebody had their pig stolen. I'm just gonna go, like, around the back. Just go off to a different direction. Regarding the horse, sometimes you lead others to a treasure you cannot possess. That's a very good point. Poor horse, though. Just getting traded off like that. I bet you that piece of silver cost way more than all of those, like, farm animals put together. Absolutely insane. Oh, it's so heavy. He should have, like, found a rock and fastened himself a little wheelie cart with sticks and the rock and just dragged it. He should have been smarter. My God. Or found some way to drag it along. Silver's not gonna wear out that, like, bad. And if it was like an actual, like, lump of silver? Yeah, he wasn't smart and he thought he was lucky, but he wasn't lucky for shit. Poor bugger thought he was me. He was not the sharpest tool in the shed. The light was not home. The world kept knocking, and not a singular soul answered the door of that man's brain. Ships crash in his lighthouse. I like that one. His crayon does not write. I was like partially reading that next one and I found it boring. So we're not reading the one where yet another fairy casts a curse upon some people. I like how this one refers to the donkey as an ass. But that's what they do. Yeah, I know that's what they do. Oh wait, hold on. Actually, I am gonna read that one because the ending intrigues me. Never mind. I saw like 2 lines of the ending and went, wait, they what now? So never mind. I am gonna actually read this one. There once was an old castle that stood in the middle of a deep, gloomy wood, and in the castle lived an old fairy. Now, this fairy could take any shape she pleased. All the day long she flew about in the form of an owl, or crept about the country like a cat. But at night she always became an old woman again. When any young man came within 100 paces of her castle, he became quite vexed and could not move a step till she came and set him free, which she would not do till he had given her his word never to come there again. But when any prudent maiden came within that space, she was changed into a bird, and the fairy put her into a cage and hung her up in a chamber in the castle. There were 700 of these cages hanging in the castle, and all with beautiful birds in them. Now, there was once a maiden whose name was Jorinda. Jorinda. Did I say that right? There was once a maiden whose name was Jorinda. She was prettier than all the pretty girls that were ever seen before, and a shepherd lad, whose name was Jorindel, was very fond of her, and they were soon to be married. One day they went to walk in the wood, that they might be alone, and Jorindel said, "We must take care that we don't go too near the fairy's castle." It was a beautiful evening. The last rays of the setting sun shone bright through the long stems of the trees upon the green underwood beneath, and the turtle doves sang from the tall birches. Jorinda sat down to gaze upon the sun. Jorindel sat by her side, and both felt sad. They knew not why, but it seemed as if they were to be parted from one another forever. They had wandered a long way, and when they looked to see which way they should go home, they found themselves at a loss to know what path to take. The sun was setting fast, and already half of its circle had sunk behind the hill. Durendal on a sudden looked behind him, and saw through the bushes that they had, without knowing it, sat down close under the old walls of the castle. Then he shrank for fear, turned pale, and trembled. Jorinda was just singing. The ring-dove sang from the willow spray, well a day, well a day. He mourned for the fate of his darling mate, well a day. When her song stopped suddenly, Durendal turned to see the reason, and beheld his Jorinda turning into a nightingale, so that her song ended with a mournful chug chug. An owl with fiery eyes flew 3 times around them, and 3 times screamed, "Too-woo, too-woo, too-woo." Durendal could not move. He stood fixed as stone, and could neither weep nor speak, nor stir hand or foot. And now the sun went quite down. The gloomy night came. The owl flew into a bush, and after a moment the old fairy came forth, pale and meager, with staring eyes and a nose and chin that almost met one another. She mumbled something to herself, seized the nightingale, and went away with it in her hand. Poor Durendal saw the nightingale was gone, but what could he do? He could not speak. He could not move from the spot where he stood. At last the fairy came back and sang with a hoarse voice. Till the prisoner is fast, and her doom is cast, there stay, oh stay. When the charm is around her, and the spell has bound her, hie away, away. On a sudden, Durendal found himself free. Then he fell on his knees before the fairy and prayed her to give him back his dear Jorinda. But she laughed at him and said he should never see her again. Then she went her way. He prayed, he wept, he sorrowed, but all in vain. Alas, he said, what will become of me? He could not go back to his own home, so he went to a strange village and employed himself in keeping sheep. Many a time he did walk round and round as near to the hated castle as he dared go, but all in vain. He heard or saw nothing of Jorinda. At last he dreamed one night that he found a beautiful purple flower, and that in the middle of it lay a costly pearl. And he dreamt that he plucked the flower and went with it in his hand into the castle, and that everything he touched with it was disenchanted, and that there he found his Jorinda again. In the morning, when he awoke, he began to search over hill and dale for this pretty flower, and 8 long days he sought for it in vain. But on the 9th day, early in the morning, he found the beautiful purple flower, and in the middle of it was a large dewdrop as big as a costly pearl. Then he plucked the flower and set out and traveled day and night till he came again to the castle. He walked nearer than 100 paces to it, and yet he did not become fixed as before, but found that he could go quite close up to the door. Durendal was very glad to see this. Then he touched the door with the flower, and it sprang open, so that he went in through the court and listened when he heard so many birds singing. At last he came to the chamber where the fairy sat, and with the 700 birds singing in the 700 cages. When she saw Durendal, she was very angry and screamed with rage, but she could not come within 2 yards of him, for the flower he held in his hand was his safeguard. He looked around at the birds, but alas, there were many, many nightingales, and how then should he find out which was his Jorinda? While he was thinking what to do, he saw the fairy had taken down one of the cages and was making the best of her way off through the door. He ran or flew after her, touched the cage with the flower, and Jorinda stood before him and threw her arms round his neck, looking as beautiful as ever, as beautiful as when they walked together in the wood. Then he touched all the other birds with the flower, so that they all took their old forms again, and he took Jorinda home, where they were married and lived happily together many years. And so did a good many other lads, whose maiden had been forced to sing in the old fairies' cages by themselves much longer than they liked. Oh, hello. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Welcome on in. We're doing a Grimm tale reading for the chat redemption. So tonight is bedtime story night. And chat chose Grimm tales. And I thought it was a great choice because, you know, October's tomorrow. So we're doing that. I like that one. So never mind. I'm glad I read it instead. little lesbian fairy going, yeah, I'm gonna keep all these girls. Actually, this reminds me of a webtoon that I read recently, where this woman, she kidnapped like really pretty women and kept them like in cages in her basement. It was like a little bit of a darker tale, but she kept them in her basement, and she was like kind of crazy, but it reminds me of that. What is your vibe? What does that mean? Like, what do I normally do? Normally I just play games and hang out with chat. But tonight we're doing stories. So it's like a reading corner right now. Because like the whole setting about this entire area is a cafe. So it's like when you have poetry reading night and there's that little like stage and somebody goes and stands up on stage and everybody's like in a beanbag and they're sitting there and they're just vibing with like a cup of coffee in their hands or something. It's kind of like that tonight. And I'm reading until midnight, which is in 20 minutes for me. I think we have more than enough stories to go through those 20 minutes too. We've got a little bit of a Halloween-y lo-fi going on in the background. And we're just chilling. This one, right, earlier. I was trying to say earlier, this one that's on screen right now, this one was making me giggle like a little kid, because it just keeps calling the donkey an ass, which is like its old-timey name. But, you know, hee hee ha ha, ass is a curse word type of thing. Oh, goodness. Drink time. All right. Next is the traveling musicians. I wonder if I should just like... I think I'm going to replace it with donkey because that's what it is. Because if I say it too much, I'm kind of worried that when the VOD goes up on YouTube, YouTube will like clap it down. An honest farmer had once a donkey that had been a faithful servant to him a great many years, but now it was growing old and every day more and more unfit for work. His master, therefore, was tired of keeping him and began to think of putting an end to him. But the donkey, who saw that some mischief was in the wind, took himself slyly off and began his journey towards the great city. For there, he thought, I may turn musician. After he had traveled a little way, he spied a dog lying by the roadside and panting as if he were tired. What makes you pant so, my friend? Said the donkey. Alas, said the dog, my master was going to knock me on the head because I am old and weak and can no longer make myself useful to him in hunting. So I ran away. But what can I do to earn my livelihood? Hark ye, said the donkey, I am going to the great city to turn musician. Suppose you go with me and try what you can do in the same way. The dog said he was willing, and they jogged on together. They had not gone far before they saw a cat sitting in the middle road and making a most rueful face. Pray, my good lady, said the donkey, what's the matter with you? You look quite out of spirits. Ah, me, said the cat. How can one be in good spirits when one's life is in danger? Because I am beginning to grow old and had rather lie at my ease by the fire than run about the house after the mice. My mistress laid hold of me and was going to drown me. And though I've been lucky enough to get away from her, I do not know what I am to live upon. Oh, said the donkey, by all means, go with us to the great city. You are a good night singer and may make your fortune as a musician. The cat was pleased with the thought and joined the party. Soon afterwards, as they were passing by a farmyard, they saw a chicken perched upon a gate and screaming out with all his might and main. Bravo, said the donkey. Upon my word, you make a famous noise. Pray, what is all this about? Why, said the rooster, I was just now saying that we should have fine weather for our washing day, and yet my mistress and the cook don't thank me for my pains, but threaten to cut off my head tomorrow and make broth of me for the guests that are coming on Sunday. Heaven forbid, said the donkey. Come with us, Master Chanticleer. It will be better, at any rate, than staying here to have your head cut off. Besides, who knows? If we care to sing in tune, we may get up some kind of concert, so come along with us. With all my heart, said the rooster. So they all four went on jollily together. They could not, however, reach the great city the first day, so when night came on, they went into a wood to sleep. The donkey and the dog laid themselves down under a great tree, and the cat climbed up into the branches, while the rooster, thinking that the higher he sat, the safer he should be, flew up to the very top of the tree, and then, according to his custom, before he went to sleep, looked out on all sides of him to see that everything was well. In doing this, he saw afar off something bright and shining, and calling to his companions, he said, There must be a house no great way off, for I see a light. If that be the case, said the donkey, we had better change our quarters, for our lodging is not the best in the world. Besides, added the dog, I should not be worse for a bone or two or a bit of meat. So they walked off together towards the spot where Chanticleer had seen the light, and as they drew near, it became larger and brighter, till at last they came close to a house in which a king of robbers lived. The donkey, being the tallest of the company, marched up to the window and peeped in. "Well, donkey," said Chanticleer, "what do you see?" "What do I see?" replied the donkey. "Why, I see a table spread with all kinds of good things, and robbers sitting around it making merry." "That would be a noble lodging for us," said the rooster. "Yes," said the donkey, "if we could only get in." So they consulted together how they should contrive to get the robbers out, and at last they hit upon a plan. The donkey placed himself upright on his hind legs, with his 4 feet resting against the window. The dog got upon his back. The cat scrambled up to the dog's shoulders, and the rooster flew up and sat upon the cat's head. When all was ready, a signal was given, and they began their music. The donkey brayed, the dog barked, the cat mewed, and the rooster screamed. And then they all broke through the window at once and came tumbling into the room amongst the broken glass with the most hideous clatter. The robbers, who had been not a little frightened by the opening concert, had now no doubt that some frightful hobgoblin had broken in upon them and scampered away as fast as they could. The coast once clear, our travelers soon sat down and dispatched what the robbers had left, with as much eagerness as if they had not expected to eat again for a month. As soon as they had satisfied themselves, they put out the lights, and each once more sought out a resting place to his own liking. The donkey laid himself down upon a heap of straw in the yard. The dog stretched himself upon a mat behind the door. The cat rolled herself up on the hearth before the warm ashes, and the rooster perched upon a beam on the top of the house. And as they were all rather tired with their journey, they soon fell asleep. But about midnight, when the robbers saw from afar that the lights were all out and that all seemed quiet, they began to think that they had been in too great a hurry to run away. And one of them, who was bolder than the rest, went to see what was going on. Finding everything still, he marched into the kitchen and groped about till he found a match in order to light a candle. And then, espying the glittering, fiery eyes of the cat, he mistook them for live coals and held the match to them to light it. But the cat, not understanding this joke, sprang at his face and spat and scratched at him. This frightened him dreadfully, and he ran to the back door. But there, the dog jumped up and bit him in the leg. And as he was crossing over the yard, the donkey kicked him, and the rooster, who had been awakened by the noise, crowed with all his might. At this, the robber ran back as fast as he could to his comrades and told the captain how a horrid witch had gotten into the house and had spat at him and scratched his face with her long, bony fingers. How a man with a knife in his hand had hidden himself behind the door and stabbed him in the leg. How a black monster stood in the yard and struck him with a club, and how the devil had sat upon the top of the house and cried out, "Throw the rascal up here!" After this, the robbers never dared to go back to the house, but the musicians were so pleased with their quarters that they took up their abode there. And there they are, I dare say, at this very day. My luck continues to be rotten. I'm getting itchy from the pineapple stewed squids I had at dinner. Oh no! That's so unfortunate. No! I'm so sorry. Do you have any allergy medicine? Oh, that's most unfortunate. Is it only hives that you get from it? I hope it's mild. Was the dinner at least good? Sometimes it's good enough for it to be forgiven. It's pretty mild, I'll be fine. Oh, good. Very good. I'm so glad. Not for nothing. sometimes I found that like regular Claritin type stuff, right? Even the generic stuff can sometimes help, especially if it's like just itchies. The best part of the dinner was the braised tofu. The risky one when picking up from a takeaway canteen. Yeah, that's very, very, very true. Most unfortunate. Well, bromelain and soy strikes again. Toma's out here like, I never trust the soy lectin. Oh. That really sucks, though. I'm so sorry. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. I'm putting myself to sleep. Alright. I think we have, what, 10 more minutes, right? Excitement. My mom's got face hives, though, so I think she's gonna have to take a Benadryl. Oh, no. Oh, God. Yeah. That's definitely not good. Benadryl's gonna take her out. And you guys have... Well, let's see. What are you? 3 hours behind. I mean, it's not that early. So, at least she won't miss out too bad on the night. I know some people who, like, don't pass out from taking Benadryl at all, and those people are super lucky. I had the really funny, dumb thought of making a soybean emote just to wave it at Toma. Let you sleep. I put you to sleep. I read bedtime story and put you to sleep. Yes. Let me be boring enough to put your ass to sleep. You'll forget about the hides real quick. Oh, you. Oh no. Oh, Benadryl doesn't put you to sleep. Oh, that's unfortunate. My brain completely missed that one message in between. Is this a short one? Oh, it is a short one. The straw, the coal, and the bean. That's another short one. Okay, we got 2 short ones coming up then. Yeah, the funny thing is that you were like, these are darker than you remember these stories probably, but I used to read Gingy. You know what? You know what, Hio? We don't count you. But also the ones that were like supposedly darker were from this website. Like the Rumpelstiltskin one, I guess. But I don't know. Right, these are the ones that were supposedly the darker ones. At least that's what the website said. And then I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe these stories might have something in them that I'm not exactly sure I should be reading. Cause like, what if? Cause if it's like the old like, if it's the old publications, right? What if they've got some like stupid racist shit in there? I don't want to read that. Or if it's got like actual like descriptive gore, I don't know. Then again, judging based on how all this stuff was written, I highly doubt that anything gory would have been descriptive enough for me to go, ugh. Brain hurty? Well, that's because you had migraine. Did you pass out? Like, did you take a small nap from it? And did you take medicine before doing so? You need medicine if you didn't. Falling asleep after Ito's manga long dream was an experience. Oh, I'm sure. Okay, good. Well, I mean, maybe not good for the nap part because your sleep schedule's possibly screwed up now, but good for the medicine. You're just in time for like the last 4 minutes of this of these stories. All right, we got this one, and then we got the next one, and then after that is Briar Rose, and I already read Briar Rose, so I'm not doing it again. I'm not reading this whole book, but we're at least reading the last 2 small ones. We started on a small one of the girl turning into firewood. We're going on to the next one. Well, we're gonna end on a short one, too. This one is Old Sultan. A shepherd had a faithful dog called Sultan, who was grown very old and had lost all his teeth. And when one day, when the shepherd and his wife were standing together before the house, the shepherd said, "I will shoot old Sultan tomorrow morning, for he is of no use now." But his wife said, "Pray, let the poor faithful creature live. He has served us well a great many years, and we ought to give him a livelihood for the rest of his days." "But what can we do with him?" said the shepherd. "He has not a tooth in his head, and the thieves don't care for him at all. To be sure, he has served us, but then he did it to earn his livelihood. Tomorrow shall be his last day, depend upon it." Poor Sultan, who was lying close by them, heard all that the shepherd and his wife said to one another, and was very much frightened to think tomorrow would be his last day. So, in the evening, he went to his good friend the wolf, who lived in the wood, and told him all his sorrows and how his master meant to kill him in the morning. "Make yourself easy," said the wolf. "I will give you some good advice. Your master, you know, goes out every morning very early with his wife into the field, and they take their little child with them and lay it down behind the hedge in the shade while they are at work. Now, do you lie down close by the child and pretend to be watching it, and I will come out of the wood and run away with it. You must run after me as fast as you can, and I will let it drop. You may carry it back, and they will think that you have saved their child and will be so thankful to you that they will take care of you as long as you live." The dog liked this plan very well, and accordingly so it was managed. The wolf ran with the child a little way. The shepherd and his wife screamed out, but Sultan soon overtook him and carried the poor little thing back to his master and mistress. Then the shepherd patted him on the head and said, "Old Sultan has saved our child from the wolf, and therefore he shall live and be well taken care of and have plenty to eat. Wife, go home and give him a good dinner, and let him have my old cushion to sleep on as long as he lives." So, from this time forward, Sultan had all he could wish for. Soon afterward, the wolf came and wished him joy, and said, "Now, my good fellow, you must tell no tales, but turn your head the other way when I want a taste of one of the old shepherd's fine fat sheep." "No," said the Sultan, "I will be true to my master." However, the wolf thought he was in joke, and came one night to get a dainty morsel. But Sultan has told his master what the wolf meant to do, so he laid wait for him behind the barn door, and when the wolf was busy looking out for a good fat sheep, he had a stout cudgel laid about his back that combed his locks for him finely. Then the wolf was very angry and called Sultan an old rogue and swore he would have his revenge. So the next morning, the wolf sent the boar to challenge Sultan to come into the wood to fight the matter. Now, Sultan had nobody he could ask to be his second, but the shepherd's old, large, three-legged cat. So he took her with him, and as the poor thing limped along with some trouble, she struck up her tail straight in the air. The wolf and the wild boar were first on the ground, and when they espied their enemies coming and saw the cat's long tail standing straight in the air, they thought she was carrying a sword for Sultan to fight with, and every time she limped, they thought she was picking up a stone to throw at them. So they said they should not like this way of fighting, and the boar lay down behind a bush, and the wolf jumped up into a tree. Sultan and the cat soon came up and looked about and wondered that no one was there. The boar, however, had not quite hidden himself, for his ears stuck out of the bush, and when he shook one of them a little, the cat, seeing something move and thinking it was a mouse, sprang upon it and bit and scratched it, so that the boar jumped up and grunted and ran away, roaring out, "Look up in the tree! There sits the one who is to blame!" So they looked up and espied the wolf sitting amongst the branches, and they called him a cowardly rascal, and would not suffer him to come down till he was heartily ashamed of himself, and promised to be good friends again with old Sultan. Huh. So I guess they made up. Well, that's good. They should make up. Although the wolf shouldn't have tried eating the sheep in the first place. He should have known. What a weird story. I think it just... I think it's supposed to be about friendship in a positive manner. Be true friends. Be good to each other. Do right by each other. That type of thing. Alright, last story. The straw, the coal, and the bean. Don't make unreasonable demands. That too. That too. Because it's okay, well, I gave you unsolicited advice and never once asked for payment, but now my payment shall be that you give me something that you have to betray somebody else for, and that's not cool. Funny that we end on a beat. Yeah, right? In a village dwelt a poor old woman who had gathered together a dish of beans and wanted to cook them. So she made a fire on her hearth, and that it might burn the quicker, she lighted it with a handful of straw. When she was emptying the beans into the pan, one dropped without her observing it, and lay on the ground beside a straw. And soon afterwards, a burning coal from the fire leapt down to the two. Then the straw began and said, "Dear friends, from whence do you come here?" The coal replied, "I fortunately sprang out of the fire, and if I had not escaped by sheer force, my death would have been certain. I should have been burnt to ashes." The bean said, "I too have escaped with a whole skin, but if the woman had got me into the pan, I should have been made into broth without any mercy like my comrades." "And would a better fate have fallen to my lot?" said the straw. "The old woman has destroyed all my brethren in fire and smoke. She seized 60 of them at once and took their lives. I luckily slipped through her fingers." "But what are we to do now?" said the coal. "I think," answered the bean, "that as we have so fortunately escaped death, we should keep together like good companions, and lest a new mischance should overtake us here, we should go away together and repair to a foreign country." The proposition pleased the two others, and they set out on their way together. Soon, however, they came to a little brook, and as there was no bridge or footplank, they did not know how they were to get over it. The straw hit on a good idea and said, "I will lay myself straight across, and then you can walk over on me as on a bridge." The straw therefore stretched itself from one bank to the other, and the coal, who was of an impetuous disposition, tripped quite boldly onto the newly built bridge. But when she had reached the middle and heard the water rushing beneath her, she was, after all, afraid, and stood still and ventured no further. The straw, however, began to burn, broke into 2 pieces, and fell into the stream. The coal slipped after her, hissed when she got into the water, and breathed her last. The bean, who had prudently stayed behind on the shore, could not but laugh at the event, was unable to stop, and laughed so heartily that she burst. It would have been all over with her likewise if, by good fortune, a tailor who was traveling in search of work had not sat down to rest by the brook. As he had a compassionate heart, he pulled out his needle and thread and sewed her together. The bean thanked him most prettily, but as the tailor used black thread, all beans since then have a black seam. Coffee beans! I think this was coffee beans. Because coffee beans have the black line in it. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I like that. What a nice little coincidence. I think this was coffee beans. And that's what all you are. My little beans. My little coffee beans. You all have the black seam because of a tailor, apparently. Huh. Well, anyway, that was the last story of the night. I wonder what what the tale was this for. Like, yeah, good one to end on. Yeah. It wasn't anything like scary, and it wasn't anything like bad. It was just, hey, here's the story of how coffee beans got their lines. Although I do have to wonder why the piece of straw and the bean and the coal were all women. Black-eyed peas too? Huh. Probably the introduction of coffee to Europe. Huh. That's interesting. I find it's very silly, though, and very coincidental that we ended on something that, like, you know, could be portrayed as a coffee bean. Are they feminine words in the original language? I actually have no idea. No, you're you're fine. I at least knew what you meant. I was like, oh, he must be on mobile. My brain just instantly, like, replaced all your typos. I speak in typo, it's good. It's all good. I mean, oh my god. Reading in yield English so much that I'm screwing up my regular words. Well, anyway. That was it. I forgot that tonight I was gonna have to start at 9. So I was thinking to myself, oh yeah, I was gonna read like stories for 4 hours. No, I'm not starting at 8, I'm starting at 9. So, but that's it. Yay! We made it through story night. All my redemptions have been redeemed. Redund. God. Time to weep. Yes. Yes. I hope that I have relaxed everybody enough to go to sleep. I try to stay as non-toad as possible tonight. I think I accomplished that. And, yeah, tomorrow will be, let's see. So we're not, maybe it will be 9. But tomorrow is the 1st of October. Well, it's the 1st of October right now, but quote unquote tomorrow. It will be 9 because I deem it so. And it'll be Cult of the Lamb. And I'll try and get that that Twitch thing to work where chat goes and is a part of Maculties. So, if you want to be a part of that, that'll be there. And we should be good to go. Oh, look at that. And I started the music after a good point, because it's before this entire 3-hour video is done. Here, oh my god. Shoo. Assumes the rabbit! What? Don't assume nothing! No! Unassume your positioning! Weirdo. No! Unassume the position! Unassume the position! No positionings! Stop it! Stop posturing yourself! Excited for tomorrow? Yes. Yes, I'm excited too. For the sacrifice, I already know my fate. I know! But we're not stuffing you like a pig! You'll be boiled in a pot and then put into a bowl. You get boiled until all of the meat's nice and tender and falls off the bone. And then you get put into the bowls. And then you are served. Yes, I'm gonna boil you whole. How else was this supposed to work? Wait, oh god. I breathed in, and the air tried choking me. Ugh. Oh god, I thought I was done coughing, so I unmuted. I'm so sorry for coughing in your ear like that. Hold on. Oh god. Oh god. No butchering? No. You get strewn up against the steak, put into a pot, and boiled whole. Coward? What do you mean coward? No. Am no coward. Now hold on. Everybody stay there. Hold on. Let me open up. Hold on. Close that out. Close that out. I have to turn off the music and close those things out. I had Discord open this entire time. Goodbye, Discord. You're probably gonna screw everything up. Why is my notepad open? Goodbye, notepad. What is this? This is my File Explorer window. Okay. Alright, I should only have Steam. Okay. So while everybody's here, I am going to really super quickly... I am going to start up Cult of the Lamb really quick. Oh, this game needs a controller for best experience. Where the hell did I... Oh, it's right here. Hold on. I'm gonna see how stuttery this makes it. This makes everything. We're gonna stress test my computer right now. That should help. Oh, my back. Oh, goodness. I'm putting this microphone back. Oh, I can't see anything. Hold on. Yes, I am keeping it in the background. For now. I do have a controller. Oh, goodness, everything's so stuttery. I've already been stress test, thanks. No, not like that. Ah! Bright light. F for skip. I have a controller connected. Settings. Hold on. Controller. No, I have a controller. Wait, why isn't it registering that I have a controller? Quit. Accept. Did this connect to the wrong computer? Beantown Master Grinder. Now! No. There's no Master Grinder in Beantown. Settings. Is my controller not hooked up to you? Everything is so stuttery. Most unfortunate. What do you mean what is my controller connected to? Why are you connected to the tablet? Remove. And how do they make coffee? What, in Beantown? We don't have a master grinder. We just import it. Connect to the big computer. The main computer. The actual computer. What do you mean not connected? Connect! What? Oh no! VTS died! Coo. Isn't Brewster the master grinder? Hold on, everything's going haywire. I'm so glad I did all this. Oh no, I've disappeared! The secret to the beans is that they are imported because I'm not growing them yet. Load. Load. Alright. Fixed? Nile lurking in their own street. No. No, it's just... my... stupid thing. All I want to do is add a device. Add... share wall device. Hello? Why you know... add Xbox controller. No, not you. You. Do not attach yourself to the tablet. Attach yourself to the computer. Thank you. Alright, how bad does this stress out my computer? Oh, wow. I am, like, really badly stuttering. And close out that window. Ah! My screens went black for me. I can't see anything. Why is it on the second screen? I need that for play. We have to go chibi mode. I refuse. I want to be big. Why are you over there? Controller recommended. Controller is had. I have controller. I connected the controller. Push any button to start. Button has been pushed. Settings. How to window. Why are you vibrating? Stop vibrating. Okay. Windowed. Yay! 'Tis windowed. It does not let me change. Wait, yes it does. That looks like a good one. Maybe it's a sign that Super Mario Sunshine is better than Cult of the Lamb. I don't wanna. You can't make me. Hold on. Let's move over here. Y'all help me set this up. Why is everything awry over here? What the fuck happened? Why is VTS missing? Are we getting shorts out of tonight? No. Why, VTS, why were you missing from the other one? Go over here. Paste yourself. What the fuck is happening? Yes, you have colors. Yeah, I got colors, but... Hold on. What is going on? I was about here, right? Or should I be bigger? Is that good? Oh wait, hold on. I know what the problem is. The problem is... Where? The problem is, this has to be full screen and I have to do this. There we go. Fixed. Okay. But that's a thing that says that my Switch is not connected. So hold on. Is game capture what I need? Cult of the Lamb. Capture specific window. The window is Cult of the Lamb. Where are you? Capture audio. Why you no capture? Why you no capture? What the fuck is this shit? Why does game capture no work? Why game capture no work? ChatGPT, how do I capture bloopers surfing Safari at 60 frames per second? Shut up. No. You leave my stuff alone. Capture audio. Okay. Wait. Properties. Window title must match. Because if you don't, then everything goes awry. Cult of the Lamb. I'm not doing any actual gameplay. We're setting it up. Y'all get to see me set it up. Technically, this should go in my games section. Oh, wait. I have to... This is not a good size for it. Gotcha. Hold on. Alright, what resolution is good then? Is this a good resolution? No, this is not a good resolution. There is no Discord. Is this a good resolution? Why is my window messed up? Hold on, you're gonna see. Why is it messed up? Why does it look weird? I'll fix it. Oh, there's a like a personal. So I have my personal Discord. I don't have like a group Discord. Like, some of the people that you see in here are actually my friends. And they got shoved into, like, a temporary Discord server thing for Nave or me to, like, at everyone them. So that they know that I'm online. Or that she's online. There's no, like, Discord. There's, like, my personal Discord. Wow, my games box is... This is so funny. My games thing is literally... only Uma Musume if I don't have Cult of the Lamb in it. That's so funny. Alright. Oh wait, I have to get out of this. Oh god. Animated microserver for yeah. Yeah, basically. Basically, it's not like an official Discord. I haven't made one. I am not pretentious enough to assume that that I should have a Discord, considering I have like what, 5 people who aren't my friends who watch me. But yeah, why does it keep doing the weird color? No, I don't want credits. I wanted settings. I want the weird thing to go away. I don't want it to do the thing. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. We want shadows and we want anti-aliasing. What is depth of field? I'm keeping that. It's rather loud. Oh, really? Well, good thing y'all are here. There. I have it at a Grand Bazaar level. Is that acceptable? Because I'd rather have it set up like this first before we like run around with scuff in the beginning of the VOD tomorrow. Better? Cool. Wait, did that save everything? I don't know anything. When's the last time I even played this game? Okay. Right now. Ah! Stop going blue! But the scuff. No! No scuff. Scuff is forbidden. Oh, text scale. Hell yeah. Scale it up to 120 so that all of chat can see. Not a friend. Not a friend. I meant, God, if I'm friends with all of my chatters, then that's a lot. That's a lot. You can always have the nice feeling of I don't really like chat with people on Twitter, if that makes you feel better. You can be a friend, Toma. Dyslexic fonts? Oh, shit! Whoa! Whoa! Oh, I might need this. Wait, no. Having it look like that makes it mess up in my brain. No high contrast. I can't. The visual snow will start. Show build mode filter. Remove text styling? No, that makes everything boring. But why do they make it italic? Oh, well, if we remove text styling and we do that, they make it like wide. I think it takes away the narrowness of it, but I'm so used to regular fonts. Remove lighting effect. Main menu dark mode. I can't have too much dark mode stuff. Oh, that's cool. No, I definitely want that stuff to... Why is that inaccessibility, though? Stop going blue! That's my biggest problem! Stop going blue! Oh my god. My biggest problem is that it goes blue, and blue actually, like, makes me sick. At least, like, true blue. You not believe what unit Llama made viable? Is it Nilu? Because I saw a short where Llama was Candace, and Candace was going through her phone and checking all of the people that make a good team with her. And it starts off with like Nilu being on the contacts, and Candace as Llama goes, "Ew, how did this person get in my phone?" Have I not 12 among you in fluff and fervor? Where is the raspberry chamomile mana? Where are the banana? What? What? I don't know what that means! Okay, stop going blue! Bijah. Wait, he wasn't viable before? Okay, quit. Yeah, I want to quit. Okay. I only needed to set it up. Ah! There we go. That's what Bunny says every time she wants treats. I see. Where the banana? Alright. Now that everybody has seen the trials and tribulations I have to go through just to get that stuff. Hopefully, it's not annoying to put the whatchamacallit in the Twitch plugin. Excuse me. Where is... Hold on. How to... Hello? How to Twitch plug in Cult of the Lamb. I'll not be caught dead begging for treats. I just take as needed. Open the game. Go to in-game connect with Twitch button on authenticate your account, then visit your Twitch creator dashboard, search for Companion of the Lamb, and install it. And set it as your overlay to configure channel point rewards and other features. I can do what? Hold on a fucking minute. There's a what now? I'm keeping this up in the background. Hold on a second. Y'all can converse with me while I do this. I will go to 5 FPS and everything will be fine. But there's a way. It's built into the fucking game. It's not even like something I have to mess with. It's built into the game. Hello, blah, 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 conversing, blah. Blah. Bleh. Blue. Wait, what? Ah! Why is this opening up my... No, I want... Why did you open up that? Settings? Go to the in-game connect with Twitch button. Settings? No. DLC? Wait. Heretic Edition? What the hell is this? Oh! Oh, there's so many things! I don't have money for these extra awesome things. Damn. How to... I want someone to make a camera extension that reads your finger positions and then to launch Minecraft so you can do the Naruto finger combinations jutsu. You probably could, actually. How to... Wait, there's a whole nother DLC that's coming out soon. Oh, everything's on sale? The whole bundle is only 18 bucks? Ah. Oh, I wish I had money right now. How to... back to game, please, Steam. Thank you. I only have Cultist Edition. Where is this in-game button you speak of? Not in the main menu. Where is it? Twitch integration. While playing? It's the Steam Autumn Sale? Oh, I see. Hold on. Wait, if it's a Steam Autumn Sale, how long do I have? You have until October 6th? Ah, fuck! Okay. Monday? I'm not gonna have money from by the time Monday hits. Oh, wow. Oh, if you are a Twitch partner or affiliate, custom channel points rewards will be created for the Twitch totem and follower messages. Oh! Ooh! Authorize Twitch. Please install the Twitch extension on your channel. Okay. Sure. Yeah, install. You must configure this third-party extension before you go live. Okay. Cool. Alright. Well, it's attached to my profile now. Turn my sound off. Hold on. Mute myself so I'm not, like, echoing. Extension panel. Extension panel 2. Configure. Oh, before I go live, right? Okay. I think that's done then. Perchance, it might be done. I'm making sure I'm all set up. Oh, there's a button here. What does this button do? Wait, hinder? Oh no! Y'all are gonna have fun, like, torturing me. Apparently, you can hinder me too. Oh, hey, did you know that I have only one more sub to go before I hit my goal? And 300 more bits to go before I hit my goal? Because I sure didn't. Just you wait. Oh, God. Wait, no! No! So many of you have so many fucking channel points! Oh, no! What's my goal? 1,000 bits. I just have a $10 goal. I have 700 out of 1,000 bits, and I have 1 sub out of 10 left for my current goals. You have 58k, Rabbit? Rabbit? Don't you dare. You will have them. You will probably be the biggest hindrance. I don't even know. You have 68. Oh, God. Oh, no. Y'all are gonna torture me tomorrow. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Hold on. Let me get back to this thing. Toma's got 0. Toma, how do you have 0 channel points? Oh, right. Because you keep, like, raffle maxing. Toma, I should give you points. What? Look at you! 13,390. You know what? Today is the last... You know what? It's October 1st. Calendar-wise on my screen. Hold on. 13,390. Alright. Because I did say that I would do this. I'm going to end the VTuber raffle thing. 13 kilo 0. Ichi-san kilo 0. Come on, I said I was gonna do this. Loyalty settings. Wait, I have to go end the thing. Shit, hold on. Let me end the raffle. I've got all the names on. Let me end the raffle. And I'll start tomorrow with the raffle wheel. We'll see who gets to win the VTuber thing. And remember though, it takes 4 months. I hear them say 0 sometimes. I don't remember. How do I end the thing? It's in my settings somewhere. Y'all get to hear me be a failure streamer live. Live in front of a studio audience. Here we go. 88%. 88% in a 30-day period. Maybe I should keep the raffles at 100. Because if y'all can get to 88% in 30 days, or less than, maybe I should keep it at 100,000. It says 6 days left. How to... this thing. Hold on. Do 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 do. Copy. God damn it, Rabbit. I can't read that. Get out of there. This, go here, delete. Oh! I don't have to manually refund anybody! Delete and refund! Everything is refunded! Ichi-ni-san. Yeah, Ichi-ni-san. Well, she. Yeah. Ichi-ni-san, shi, go, roku, nana, hachi. Q. Yeah, Q. Cause there's that whole thing of san Q is 3-9. So that's March 9th. Forgot what event that is. I think it's a Miku event. All of you should have your points back, by the way. Can you check and make sure Twitch did the thing? Yeah, Miku. Okay. Yeah, it is a Miku thing. Got 88. Good. Shiyon and Shichi Nana. Yeah. Alright, cool. We're having the raffle tomorrow. I'll spin the wheel. I have everybody's name. It manually sent all the points back. Fish doesn't want anything. So we got... So on the docket, we've got Morxie, Toka, Toma, Knave, and Epi. So... whoever wins out of that, you'll know tomorrow. Because I'll do it live in front of a studio audience. And I will do that in the first, like, 20 minutes of the stream. So, if you don't care beyond that, if any of you, even you YouTube, if you don't care beyond whoever wins beyond the raffle, go ahead. Be there. It'll be in the beginning. I've at least got the names. When am I starting? 9 p.m. Eastern. I don't have to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, but I'm starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. At least I'm pretty sure. That's what it should have. The hell is my schedule? Is it here? Yeah. 9 to 12. That's what I've got on schedule. From 9 to 12, October 1st through the 5th is what I've got so far. Now, I cannot guarantee I will stream every single day. So, I'll probably let you know during that stream before if I'm gonna come on the next day. But 13,390 I see. I don't know what that means. I didn't study Japanese enough. I'm a failure to my own people. Barely know the language. Nothing more than a weeb. Oh. I see. That makes sense. Actually, I'm at 13.4. Alright, I have that saved. That's done. Get out of that. Go here. So then I don't have to do shit. Which is up glasses. Actually. Anyway. So I don't have to fork over points to anybody or do anything manual. It's all ordered. It's all done. I don't have to do the Donothon stuff anymore. I don't have to worry about updating the website I doubt anybody ever paid attention to. I went through and did all this stuff. There we go. Now all I have to do is nothing. Yay! Nothing! Except close out of it. And then wait until I do need a website for information. Let's see. Am I done chatting at chat now? Maybe. Potentially. Perchance. Oh wait, hold on. There's one thing I want to check. While live. Oh shit, why do I have 6 messages? Oh yeah, Toma, you getting smacked with nets on the bug off day is a hit on YouTube. Everybody likes it when you get smacked with nets. 153? Where are these people coming from? That's what I wanted to let you know. 29 people thumbs up the short I posted of you getting smacked with a net on repeat. And 515 people watched you get smacked with nets. So that is your legacy. Oh, Cult of the Lamb froze. Fantabulous. I can't even Cult of the Lamb is not responding. Yay. No, don't send a report to Microsoft. I don't care. Microsoft's not getting anything useful. But that's the last thing I wanted to let y'all know. Is that Toma getting smacked with nets is a hit, is a fan favorite. So, anyway, I should probably go. Right? It's go time. I need to hang up the phone now. My worst thing ever. Sometimes I just want to sit here and like chat with you guys. But it's late. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning! I've been sitting here chatting and doing stuff for an hour almost. Okay, well I got my 4 hours in, I guess. Anyway. So my bad. I kept y'all here for like almost an hour extra. Thanks for dealing with me doing that and hanging you up for that. Even though I should have been gone by now. So basically, between Toma's bonking and my mischief, yeah. You, Rabbit, getting me to fall off of platforms has been a spectacular hit. That was insane. I was not prepared for a lot of people enjoying me screaming, "Damn it, Rabbit." But they were. Anyway, I need to hang up the phone now. I can't, but I can, and I need to, and I will. So thank you all so much for joining me tonight. It was fun. I enjoyed reading for you. If you liked that, let me know, 'cause I don't mind reading stories. Shit, we can read anything that's public domain. I'll put on some music And we can do that again another time. Probably make it a shorter one, because reading stories for 3 hours, that's a lot. But, you know, hang up the phone. You hang up the phone! Oh my god, no! No! Then again, my Myrtle has been abandoned for quite a long time. So, I highly doubt that I will ever get sued by the creators of that. Oh, shit. You know what? You know what? If someone gives me $50, I will read My Immortal on stream. The message must read for My Immortal. Okay? But no, in all isn't it a fanfic? Yes, but fanfic creators can still sue you for putting their stuff on stream. It's not protected under copyright. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know, but I'd rather not get bonked, you know? The only bonking stick that I need to hit my head is okay, never mind. I'm not gonna finish that thought process. But anyway. Oh yeah, you ask permission. Do you know how hard it is to track down people who have abandoned a fan fiction like work? That's especially like if it's over a certain amount of time. It's not protected? Well, shit. I might have a non-alcoholic drinking stream for My Immortal then. It is a derivative work. Well, okay, but then you get into like fan art. Fan art is protected. You know? All I know is, if somebody gives me $50, I'll read My Immortal on stream. I'm not gonna willingly put myself through that pain again. And by that point, I will, like, if somebody does that, or if reading, if reading anything is something that you guys enjoyed, just let me know, and then I'll just go and create like a reading overlay, and then we can have it look better. I'll even go and like create my own book pages, like copy the text and put it on and stuff, and have like old school PowerPoint page turning transitions with like the noise and everything. We'll do that. I have access to PowerPoint too. It might not be free anymore, but you know, I've got access to it. What? Right, I was trying to hang up the phone, god damn it. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for wasting away the entire last hour that I should have not been here too. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody on YouTube who's been making all of the views and the subs go crazy. You are amazing. Continue to like, comment, and subscribe. It super, super helps. I would say that my Donathon was a success, and it'll come back in December. So December 1st is when I'll restart the 25 Days of Nya all over again with the same goals. It'll start from before, technically at a 0, but we'll have those goals that we didn't hit this time be up for next time. And yeah, it was for unexpected bills this time, but it'll go back to the computer goal for December, so be on the lookout for that. Again, for all of October, I'm gonna be doing like Cult of the Lamb with chat. October 31st, I'll have a costume contest in Animal Crossing. I don't know what prize I'll do. Hopefully I'll be able to, like, gift out something. I don't know. I'm bad at prizes. I'm good at activities. I'm bad with prizes. The most I can do is become your art slave for, like, whatever piece you want. Unless you have, like, a specific Animal Crossing thing that I've got. Or maybe you just like having fun. I don't know. Maybe I'll do, like, gift subs. I don't know. You know what I do know? I'll think of something. And yeah. So tomorrow, join us at 9 p.m. Eastern over on twitch.tv/its_like_Nya or Nya, because that's my name. And we'll have the raffle going. And we'll start off that. And I want to do every month a raffle. Well, maybe not every month, because that might be a lot of models. But maybe like once every 4 months, we'll do that. And whoever wins tomorrow, you'll see it within the first 20 minutes. Guaranteed. So, see you then. And take care, everybody. Have a good night. Have a good day. Have a good whenever. Whatever. Shut up, Rabbit! I'm trying to get off the phone! I'm literally saying bye, and you come in here with a comment, and I have to comment on it, because I can't be rude. Take care, everybody! Everybody blame Rabbit for me taking 3 extra minutes. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.